So just to introduce the webinar today, this is the part 2 of the Civi members portal. So part 1, we covered a lot of the functionality around member self-service, so updating their details, checking their membership, booking onto events, that sort of stuff. And then today we're going to be focusing on the sort of second half of the functionality, which revolves more around member resources, member applications and that sort of stuff. So Martin, I've met yourself before anyway, but just to introduce myself, I'm Jack. So I'm one of the account managers at Compuco. Been with the organisation for coming up to 5 years, and my primary focus is helping charities and membership associations to get more out of their data, to understand their audiences better, and also to encourage members to sort of self-serve and take a little bit of that admin burden away from the staff. So usually we do a quick poll. However, there's not a lot of people here today, and I've already spoke to you all, so I'll skip that. But what I'm going to be focusing on from an agenda standpoint is, what is a members portal? How does your organisation use it, and do you need one? And then also we're going to be doing some demonstrations on all of the functionality that is possible from more of like a member view standpoint. So a lot of the demonstrations that I'm going to be showing is sort of scenarios where I would log in as a member into the portal, and I'll show you how they can navigate the system that way. And then at the end, I'll just pause and we can have some time for some sort of questions. If there is anything that comes up as I'm talking, I'll say there's quite a tight audience today, so please feel free just to sort of raise a hand or pop it in the question box, and I can come to that towards the end as well. So yeah, like I said, I'll skip over the poll. So what is a members portal? A members portal is an online platform where members can access content, manage their details, connect with other members of special interest groups or committees, engage with one another, and do a lot of other things as well. And the beauty of that is it all connects into your CRM. So all of the data is consistently being kept up to date, both by members of staff, but also the members themselves as well. So again, it just alleviates a little bit of that admin burden away from the internal team, and passes that on to the members to keep it up to date themselves. So what's the kind of differences between a portal and a traditional website? So a traditional public-facing website is kind of like your shop window, which is ultimately there to attract new visitors, new members, share your information, your mission, and ultimately encourage people to inquire about being a member or sign up directly to become a member. And what people usually publish on their public-facing websites is sort of focused content, telling stories of your particular niche, and other calls to action as well. So like I mentioned, join or contact us or sign up for our mailing list. And usually they're accessible to everybody. So there's no login required. It's kind of one size fits all traditionally. And all the content that you publish can be researched and viewed by a general audience. And primarily they're managed by marketing teams or communication teams, depending on how big your organization is. And then we've got the other side, which is the portal. So it's more of a sort of private and interactive space, which is designed specifically for your existing members to log in and engage with one another, access their resources, their benefits, renew their membership, keep their details up to date, access discounted member events, perhaps, if that's something that you offer as well. And of course, it requires a login, and it's all linked into your CRM, like I touched on a moment ago. Usually what we find is they're managed by membership teams, membership officers, membership managers, directors, or an operations team as well, because there's a slight bit of difference in sort of information that are published in the portal versus on your sort of public facing website. So why usually would we encourage organizations and associations to have one? So the first point is it strengthens engagement and interaction, both with your organization and also between members as well. So having an area, which a lot of you may have, like a directory, for example, which sort of humanizes the organization a little bit more. It puts faces to names. And rather than just having, we have 4,000 members, for example, it's got logos and faces, bits of information about other people so they can network and connect with one another. And it also strengthens the connection that they have to your association or your charity, because they're getting value through the portal as well, things like discounts and resources that are specifically to their paid membership. It can reduce admin load on the back end. So I did touch on this a moment ago, but the primary focus for any system, in my opinion, is to work for you rather than you to work for it. So the portal is designed to sort of pass some of the responsibility onto the members to keep their own details up to date, to let you know what they're interested in, for them to be able to join into particular groups and committees and be able to manage that data themselves, rather than receiving emails to your inbox or your hello at inbox where you have to manually do that yourself. It can improve the member experience. So if you just have a standard static website where everyone is getting the same information, a portal is designed to tailor the resources and the content specifically for a particular member or a particular group of members, depending on how you segment your data. So, for example, a gold member could maybe access certain resources, whereas a bronze member could maybe only access a few other things as well. So being able to provide a bit more of a tailored membered experience as well. It increases resource and service access, and you can personalize the experience for different types of members and audience as well. And if set up correctly and encouraged to your members correctly, it should be the first port of call that they go to for information, rather than picking up the phone, rather than sending an email. They can actually access the portal and get information that's specific and tailored to them as an individual. And it's a benefit in itself as well. So a lot of associations and charities that I've worked with position the members portal as a benefit that's included in their paid membership. So being able to promote things like resources or an applications area, or if you're an association that offers grants or awards or certificates. So being able to promote the members portal as a benefit in itself. So what we covered on the last call is, I'll quickly just recap this for anybody to sort of watch on YouTube or here today. So what we covered previously was update my details. So members logging in and being able to edit their information, downloading invoices and making payments for things like membership renewals and donations, manage and renew their memberships, organizational membership management. So again, a lot of associations and membership organizations offer individual membership and they also offer organizational membership. So being able to have a portal that can tailor the experience depending on what type of member you are. Event bookings and wait lists, announcements and updates. So things like volunteer applications are now open, or grants and awards applications are now open. So being able to announce that specifically to your member audience rather than to everybody on your public website. And then finally, what we covered was the members directory as well. So what I'm going to be covering today is more focused on committees and special interest groups, applications and tracking, application review from an admin standpoint. So having somebody that can log in and actually access all these applications and leave their feedback and scoring. News, resources, certificates, again, for things like membership, awards, cases, whatever that may be. Continued professional development tracking, and also case management as well. So a lot of charities and non-profits and membership associations that we've worked with in the past have a service delivery element to their organization. So they have people out in the field that are perhaps visited maybe elderly people or sick people, and they need an area where they can log in quickly and access the information that they need. So to start with, we're going to focus on committees and special interest areas. So the way that we've split this out is, on the left-hand side, you can see the benefit to the member. And then on the right-hand side, we've showcased the benefits to the staff and the organisation themselves. So starting on the left, a member can be a part of a small group and they can see peers who have similar interests. So again, humanising the organisation a little bit more, adding names and faces together. They can access the relevant information and content, meetings and events as well, all in one place, rather than them having to maybe check their inbox or go on the website or log into Eventbrite or whatever that may be. And then they can also build relationships and expand the professional network as well. So again, sort of humanising and building connections between members rather than them being separated from one another. And then the benefits from the staff and the organisation itself is you can distribute communications to the right audiences more effectively, rather than it being one size fits all. It can be a bit more of a tailored approach. You can foster higher engagement. without increasing manual efforts. You can identify active members or emerging topics of interest. So again, if you've got a lot of people that are expressing an interest in a group or a work group or a committee that's maybe not available, you can then understand what the audiences want a little bit better. And then it can support retention by creating stronger member communities as well. So I will quickly jump out of this and I'll show you how that works from a member standpoint. So this is branded up accordingly for CiviPlus, but everyone that we work with, we would add their logos, colors and fonts and stuff. So once Mary has logged in to the committees area, you can see currently that she's not part of any special interest groups or committees. So she's going to update her details. So this is the update my details form. So these are the special interest groups that we've set up. So European Studies Specialist, Political Theory, and Gender and Politics. So Mary is interested in the European Studies Specialist. So now she's opted into that group. So when she goes back to the committees area, she can see she's part of this committee. The next meeting agenda that's coming up is on the 24th of March, and she's got some attachments that she should read ahead of time. And she can also see other members who are part of that committee as well and what their role is, what organisation they're a part of, and so on. So that can be manually done by staff members. So you can opt them into these groups manually. But also just, again, relinquishing that sort of admin burden, members can do that themselves as well. So again, they can tailor their own experience. Then we've got application and tracking. So the benefit from the member standpoint is it's very simple, intuitive online applications rather than downloadable PDFs or Word documents that they have to print out and scan, or emails that they need to send. Online applications that they can fill in, save a draft and come back to it in their own time. There's real-time tracking of the application as well. So once they've actually submitted the application, they can track how you're moving the application along. So as an example, let's say you are doing a membership application. Once it's in review, they will know that. Once it's been shortlisted, for example, they will know that. So again, rather than having to reach out to you manually every time, they can track that along in their portal, and it reduces uncertainty on their application as well. So how does that benefit the staff? The automated workflows will ultimately reduce your manual admin burden. So if you're an organization that are using spreadsheets or maybe a sort of outdated CRM perhaps, we can completely streamline that using the Civi and the portal. Centralized application data ultimately will be easier because it's all in one place to manage. Consistent communication with applicants through automated updates, again, reducing that admin burden on the internal team when they've got other stuff that they could be doing. Fewer inquiries due to status tracking. So because they can track their own application along the process, it sort of reduces the amount of times that you might get the occasional email or phone call saying, oh, where are we up to in this application? Because they're consistently being updated via the automations and the portal tracking. And then finally, it can improve the efficiency, allowing staff to focus on sort of higher value tasks, maybe member engagement or producing a new member strategy, for example. So what I'll show you now is how that looks in the portal. So we will log back into an unbranded version, this time as a lady called Rebecca. So you've got the announcements tab here where you can see there's a grant and award application that is now open. So Rebecca can fill this whole application in, and these forms are fully flexible as well. So again, these are purely just examples for this webinar today. So they can fill all the information that you wish to collect. They can go through to the next page on the application. If it's a multi-stage and page application, they can fill in as much or as little detail here as you wish. I'll just skip over this a little bit for you all. What she can also do is, if it is a long application, they can save it as a draft. So they can go grab a cup of tea, they can come back to it, and then they can log back in and they can see, okay, I've got a funding application that is in the draft stage. So all they need to do is log back in, click the action button, and then they can continue the application itself. So it will take her straight back in to where she left off. So she can continue filling in this form. And then once that's all correct and all the information's there, she can then go through to the next page and she can submit that application herself. Again, I'll skip over this a little bit because it's just her filling in the application form. So once that's all filled in, she can then submit that and it will no longer live in the draft applications area. So once that's been submitted, it will come through to the internal team. It could notify Rebecca saying thank you very much for your application via email, and it could also notify the team. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we've got this submitted applications functionality. So it gives the applicant an ID that they can reference, a type of application, and also the status of that application. So as you as staff members move the application along the process, it will notify the member via the portal, again, just to reduce that admin burden of people calling you up or emailing you up and stuff like that. Then if we move on to the application review, so I will preface this and give an example. So the reason that this functionality exists is a lot of, especially membership organizations, have external review panels for any of their application processes, which 9 times out of 10, they don't want to give these reviewers core CRM access. They just want them to have a restricted view, review the application, and then submit that, and then you'll be notified. So that's kind of the whole premise of this functionality here. So how does that benefit members? So easy access for dedicated, secure for non-staff members and volunteers, perhaps, to review the application. It streamlines the review process for all the parties involved and has all the relevant information in one place online rather than in the CRM. Ability to submit feedback and decisions quickly and efficiently rather than going back and forth between numerous systems. And then an option for anonymized application review as well, just to support sort of fairness and reduce any biases that people may have. How does that support staff? So there's no need for you as an organization to provide these external reviewers with CRM access. So it keeps your data more secure, and then it keeps your members of staff as core team logged into the CRM. It can automate syncing of reviewers for feedback directly into your CRM as well. So if somebody does leave a score or feedback online, it will then pull directly into the application in the CRM. Of course, it reduces admin through structured standardized review workflows. So again, a lot of people who have review application stages in their process, maybe shortlisting that have to be taken to the board for membership application, for example, they usually export that as a CSV and they go to a meeting or a board meeting and then they'll put that forward, but it just reduces all that having it in one place. Improve governance with clear audit trails of decisions. So who filled out the review, who reviewed the review, when was it made, etc. And then faster turnaround times as well, because it's all done digitally and online. So if I log back in and give you an example of that, the CRM can handle automated emails that can be sent out to reviewers. So this is an example of somebody's Gmail inbox. They've received a request where they need to action a grant application review. So all they need to do is click the big blue button at the bottom for a review. And what that will do is it will fire them into the login page for the portal where they can log in as a reviewer. So because they have the correct permission to do this, they can see a block at the bottom for review applications. You can see that they've already left a review on Fred Smith's application, but Annie is currently awaiting a review. So the reviewer can view all the information in one page. They can obviously look at all the fields that have been filled in. So this one's for a cleanup grant that they offer, and they're going to get a bit of a review that's submitted. So all the person has to do is click review application, and then they can give their scoring and feedback. Again, this is all purely an example. So we've got a lot of organizations that have more complex reviews with scoring 1 to 5 or more free text fields, that sort of stuff. So super flexible in terms of the way that this is set up. So once this is done, they can either save a draft if it's a long review, or they can just submit the review directly into the CRM, which will then notify the internal members of staff that a review has been submitted. Then if I move on to news, so it's no secret that members like to receive resources and news and feel like they're getting value for their hard-earned money. So the benefit for members of having the news in the portal is it's easy to access, it's relevant and up-to-date, and it's personalized content based on them individually. A really good way to keep members engaged and make them feel valued is providing tailored resources and news specifically to them as an individual or a group, rather than one size fits all is typically what we've found. So they can stay informed about industry updates, opportunities, events, any case studies, that sort of stuff. And it increases a sense of connection to the organization by having real life information and news rather than, again, one size fits all. And then how can that benefit the staff? So having a centralized channel for publishing and managing news content makes your life a little bit more straightforward. Ability to target news for specific member groups, again, adding value there. Improve visibility with engagement with key updates. And then finally, it reduces the reliance on email as a primary communication tool, which a lot of organizations do use, or their key website. So an area where they can log in and access news that's specifically relevant to them. So if I show you log back in as a different example, so logging back in as Mary member into the Green Future Alliances portal, there's the news area here, which they can toggle and click into. They can search on keywords or topics that they're interested in. They can publish date ranges as well to look at the most up-to-date news. And they can also upgrade their membership as well if you wanted to maybe tailor some particular news for them. And now what we've done is we've logged in as Gordon, who's a gold member, and you can see that Gordon can see additional news that's relevant to his specific membership type. So the portal can differentiate between different groups of people, different individuals, different membership types to provide a bit more of a tailored experience. Then we move on to the resources area. So the benefit for the members is it gives them a central hub for accessing any documents, guides, tools, discounts, any kind of resources that you want to publish. It's 24-hour access rather than them having to maybe reach out and wait for a response. They can access it anytime that they want online. It's easy to search and filter. So if they want to look at particular resource that's relevant to a topic that they're interested in, and they get more value from their membership as well, again, as they've got centralized resources that are relevant to themselves. Staff, how can that benefit them? So single place to manage and update resources rather than publishing them on LinkedIn and Facebook and website and portal. It can just be all published in one centralized place and the member will know to access it that way. It empowers self-service that I touched on earlier, so members can answer their own questions rather than having to reach out to staff members directly. Reduces repetitive inquiries about particular resources, again, because it's got that self-service element, and it ensures a consistent and up-to-date information is shared across all of your membership, albeit you can tailor the experience based on particular groups of people. So what does that look like from a login perspective? So if you use the Green Future Alliance example again, we're going to log back in as Mary. You can see on the left-hand side that you've got the resources tab. So Mary can toggle in here and you can see we've got guides, we've got case studies, which she can click in and review. She can also filter and search for keywords in here as well, and do the same thing for news in terms of publish date or research type. So she can filter those ranges quite easily, and then she can find the actual piece of content that she wishes to. And similar to how I showed you news a moment ago, different people can log in and see different things. So for Mary here, she wants to look at the climate, justice, society, and equity. So there's downloadable PDFs that she can export and review. So you can use this for discounts as well. And then if we log back in as Gordon, who's a gold member, Gordon will have a different experience and will be able to see different resources that are relevant to his membership. So Gordon can see 6 different resources here, whereas Mary could only see 4 because she's got a bronze membership tier, for example. Then if we move on to the certificate generator that is in Civi, so how does that benefit members? They've got instant access to certificates in one place at any time. So traditionally, a lot of associations were printing certificates and sending them out, or generating them on a random certificate generator and then emailing them out. Often 9 times out of 10, they get lost and they get a lot of repetitive questions about can they issue a new one, which obviously costs the association money. But having a downloadable certificate that always lives in the members area saves you a lot of time. Self-service and download again, so they can access certificates for courses, events, accreditations, and they've got a clear record of their achievements across the life cycle of being involved in your organization. And then the ability to share or print those when they're needed. How does that benefit staff? So it's automated certificate. So again, it saves you a bit of time in terms of manual admin. It's consistent branding and formatting across all certificates. So again, it's not one size fits all in terms of the types of certificates that you're issuing, but let's say you issue a gold member certificate, it will be consistently branded. Of course, it will have different names and start dates and stuff like that, but just to keep the consistency across the association. real-time generation, which can be triggered automatically by the completion or approval of things like a grant being issued, or an award that's been issued, or a journal that's been published, or a membership application that's been approved. And then it reduces the member inquiries, like I touched on earlier, for missing certificates. And you can really scale this for high volumes of certificates, which again, if you are doing them manually, can save you a heck of a lot of time. So if I just show you an example of that in the members portal from a member's perspective. So if we log back in again as the trusted Mary member, and we go into the certificates area on the left-hand side, you can see that Mary will hold a number of certificates. So she's got one for an event. She's also got one for membership and some cases and awards that she's done as well. So Mary can go in there and download it directly out of the CRM as a downloadable form. And then she can export this or print it off if she wishes to as well. So that's for events, for a trainee certificate completion. She's also holding a platinum membership as well. So she can download a platinum certificate with the start date and end date and any information. And then she's got one for a technical scholarship award that she's been awarded as well. So she can also download that if awards is something that your organization does. So again, these all look a little bit different, but they're all tailored specifically to the type of certificate that's needed here. Then if we move on to the continual professional development, so CPD tracking, so how can that benefit the member audience? So it's a simple way for them to log in and track their CPD activity in one place. Again, a lot of associations and charities are using third-party tools for this, which can get a bit complex if you have to integrate them or you have to import and export that information. But with this, it's all in one place, and it gives them a clear overview of all their progress against the CPD requirements, if that is something that you do. It's very easy for them to log in and upload evidence and supporting documents after the CPD has been completed. And it also can increase confidence in staying compliant and up to date as well, where they can access records, audits, and any kind of reviews. How does that benefit the staff? So automated tracking reduces the manual monitoring and admin workload. So something I've touched on a lot today is reducing the manual workload from the staff. Real-time visibility of member progress and compliance, again, because it's all in the CRM in the portal rather than a third-party tool. The standardized data collection for reporting and audits. So at the end of the year, if a review is something that you do, all of your data is in one place. Ability to send reminders and prompts for any incomplete members that may need to get an extra couple of hours in at the end of the year to be able to renew their membership. And it also gives you better insights and supports the engagement and the retention strategies that you may be working on as an organization as well. So I'll show you now how that looks in the portal. So we log back in as Javi this time. So we log in as Javi. Again, on the left-hand side, you'll be able to see My CPD. Immediately, he'll be taken through to the CPD area with his name, membership number, and type, the total hours that he's completed against a whole total that needs to be done, a learning progress chart as well, so you can see when he's registering his hours, and he can filter that chart according to a particular date range or the filters that we've applied. And then here you've got the different types of CPD that we offer as an organization with some supporting documents. So it's really simple for him to be able to submit this. So he can give his CPD a title. So this could be articles for learning or something like that, for example. He can select the type of category that falls within, the date range of when he completed it, and the amount of hours that he invested to get the CPD completed, and any reflections and evidence that need to be submitted as well. So you can add attachments, or you can give written feedback, either typed or copied and pasted from an external document. All he needs to do then is upload that and then save that. That will come through to the internal team on the CRM for a review, and then you can approve those hours, or you can automatically allow it to tick it off once you submit that as well. Then if we move on to the final area, we've got case management. So conscious that this is probably the most nuanced area in the portal and very tailored for associations and charities that have a sort of service delivery or a case management requirement. But what we've built within the portal is a case management workflow where people that are out on the road or making visits or delivering some kind of case can log in, access all their case information in real time. It's secure access to the relevant documents that they need, and they can upload and add notes and documents directly at their visit, or maybe at a coffee shop after, perhaps, or in the office. And it reduces duplication by avoiding the paper-based or offline processes like emails or notebooks and that sort of stuff. And then finally, they can stay connected with up-to-date case details at all times, rather than having to check their phone or check their email, for example. And then how can that benefit the staff? So real-time visibility of the case updates, because it's all connected up to the portal and the CRM. It can improve your data accuracy with immediate input. And also that will help on your reporting at the end of the quarter or the year as well. Faster decision-making based on the live information. Reduces admin from retyping, or maybe you're receiving an email that you need to copy and paste into your CRM or a spreadsheet. And then enhanced service delivery through more responsive case management as well. So I'll show you now what that looks like from a members or a service delivery agent's perspective. So if we log back in as Colin, the caseworker, and what you can see is Colin has access to the My Cases area on the left-hand side. So at the top, he can filter date ranges, and you can see that he's currently got one case assigned to his workload. It's got an ID, a client, a subject, a role, and also actions as well. So he can overall see the details, basic details. He can see any documents that have been assigned and attributed to this case. He can upload documents to this case. He can download documents to this case and export that directly out the system. And he can filter those accordingly if there was a long trail of different paperworks and documents and stuff like that. So here he can add a visit note, he can give it a subject line, and he can add a file description as well to make it a bit easier to navigate. And the system will automatically know who this was uploaded by, who it was reviewed by in the system, etc. So all he has to do now is just type in a bit of description and then click save, and that will upload directly to the case. So you'll be able to see that as a member of staff in the CRM as well. And you can also see the people that are involved in this particular case. So this one's daily care for an elderly person, so he can see who the carer is, who the health specialist is, and he can email them directly out of the portal rather than having to open his phone and go to a separate system. He can actually send emails, which again will be automatically logged against the CRM record in the CRM itself. And then finally, what you can do is if somebody's moved on responsibilities, the overall caseworker can delete people from the case itself, and he can also add new people to the case as well. If somebody is out on the road and they need to be assigned to the case, and they need to be able to have access to it via the portal. And then finally, we move on to portal branding. So I did touch on this a little bit a minute ago at the beginning, but the way that the portals are set up, of course, is every organization is different. They have different marketing guidelines, palettes, that sort of stuff. So each portal can be customized to your organization's fonts, colors, and logos. So it gives a consistent look and feel, and it aligns directly to your website. Ultimately, so the member feels like they're still in your website. It's got a seamless journey between the two platforms. And then that can build trust, familiarity, and also deliver a professional and cohesive platform across the website and the CRM as well. So there's a few different examples that I've pulled together for this, just to give you a few. So we've got one here for the Royal Society of Edinburgh, FEMS, Iona, World Heart Federation, etc. So just they can all have a little bit of a different look and feel in terms of your sort of marketing palette and guidelines as well. And then finally, just for anybody that doesn't know, so there's a few people on the call that do, of course, but just a brief introduction to CiviPlus. Civi users, this may be very similar to the sort of stuff that you've got, plus or minus the portal. So CiviPlus is our sort of SaaSified version of Civi CRM, which is obviously non-profit, dedicated, membership focused, very powerful, easy to use, and it's all in one in the platform. And it can do a number of different things, everything that I've just mentioned, plus a lot more. So managing contacts, taking payments, tracking opportunities, membership management, events, marketing, case management, reporting, surveys, volunteer management, grant management, certificate generator, like I just showed you a moment ago, and also the self-service portal as well. So if anybody hasn't seen what Civi can look like, then this is the sort of theming that we've deployed in CiviPlus. So it's a very clean look and feel in terms of a user experience, members of staff logging in, very easy to edit and access as well. And then I will pause there for any questions if I just stop the recording.